Being a billionaire is a rough gig. While it may seem from the outside as cushy and glamorous, the majority of billionaires have a rough life. I would imagine that the only thing more difficult than being a billionaire is being a former billionaire. So today we're going to see 10 of these billionaires who lost their billions. Anil Ambani. Indian businessman and billionaire Anil Ambani has fallen from his once incredible wealth. He was named India's Businessman of the Year in 1997 and ran several successful ventures along with wealth inherited from his father. All this left Ambani worth several $billion and at one point the 6th richest person on the planet. But Mr. Ambani shocked the business world in 2020 when he claimed that he was worth nothing. A large group of creditors were pursuing payment on 2012's loans given by Ambani's company, Reliance Communications, which they claim Anil personally guaranteed. Now that the company has gone bankrupt, they are expecting Ambani to dig into his own pockets to pay off the debt. But apparently, he's got nothing. What's more, Ambani nearly went to jail in 2019 when a court in Mumbai gave him 1 month to pay off his debt to a Swedish loaner. Eventually, his brother bailed him out and paid the tab. Alberto Villar. Widely celebrated arts patron Alberto Villar made a fortune as an investment manager. He was a huge supporter of opera companies and other performing arts organizations. But that all fell through after the collapse of his investment firm, Amarindo Investment Advisors. In 2018, Villar was convicted of money laundering, investment advisor fraud, securities fraud, and mail-and-wire fraud, and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Rightfully so, his name began to disappear from the opera houses, which had formerly sung his praises. Jocelyn Weidelstein. You may know of Jocelyn Weidelstein because of her obsession with cosmetic surgery, which left her looking like a cat, thus earning her the widespread nickname of Catwoman. Jocelyn became a billionaire the easy way by marrying billionaire art dealer Alec Weidelstein. But things got a bit rocky when Alec was caught in bed with a 19-year-old Russian model and then threatened his wife with a gun. This incident earned him a night in jail and earned Jocelyn $2.5 billion, plus $100 million a year for 13 years following the 1999 divorce. In addition, she then sold the couple's home for $13 million, continuing to increase her divorce payoff. Having already witnessed Jocelyn's transformation into the Catwoman, the judge in their divorce proceedings stipulated that she was not permitted to use any of the alimony payments from her ex-husband to do further cosmetic surgery. Jocelyn has been known as a socialite with an extremely extravagant lifestyle. The estimated $500,000 a year spent on food and wine and another $60,000 on her phone bill really don't explain how she amazingly filed for bankruptcy in 2018, only 6 years after her $100 million a year alimony ended. She's not only broke, but claims to often ask friends and family for money to supplement her Social Security, which is Weidelstein's only source of income. Catwoman is maybe the best money spender that ever lived. Wow. These stories are rough. Y'all better collectively hit the subscribe button. Aubrey McClendon. Aubrey McClendon made his fortune in the natural gas industry. Part owner of the Oklahoma City Thunder and founder of American Energy Partners and co-founder of Chesapeake Energy. McClendon lost his fortune when he was indicted on charges of violating antitrust laws. He was accused of orchestrating a conspiracy between two large energy companies that agreed not to bid against each other for the purchase of land in Oklahoma. Following the indictment, Aubrey denied all charges and was killed the following day when he drove his car into a bridge embankment. Sean Quinn. At the age of 14, Sean Quinn dropped out of school and began one of many successful business ventures that would eventually make him the richest man in Ireland. By 2008, he had amassed a net worth of $5 billion. Eventually, he would be declared bankrupt and serve a brief jail term for asset stripping and failure to cooperate with Irish banking authorities. Somehow, this guy managed to lose more money than most people will ever see. Nobody really seems to know how it happened. Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff ran the ultimate Ponzi scheme in which he took investor money, put it in the bank, then used that very money to pay investors who wished to cash out, all the while lying to their faces about how successful the whole venture was through fabricated reports. He carried this sham on for as long as 20 years to the tune of nearly $65 million. Eventually, the whole thing came crashing down when Madoff's sons reported this scheme to authorities. Bernie was sentenced to 150 years in prison. Several conspirators were also charged, but the real tragedy was the number of well-meaning people who lost their life savings. Very little of the money has been recovered or paid back to the victims. John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller was the richest American ever and one of the richest people to ever walk the planet. But the self-made oil magnate and philanthropist took a hit during the Great Depression of over $700 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's around $10 billion in today's money. Gone. Overnight. The fact that he remained the richest American ever even after this loss is simply stunning. Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes appeared to be one of America's most promising entrepreneurs when her company, Theranos, threatened to revolutionize blood testing. She hired bigwigs in the tech industry and rounded up a healthy base of investors, which quickly rocketed Theranos' value to $9 billion. Turns out, all of the promises were simply too good to be true, and the whole house of cards came tumbling down when fabricated claims and fraudulent blood test results were exposed. The value of the company hit zero. Elizabeth is facing several charges of fraud. Alan Stanford. Alan Stanford is basically a knockoff Bernie. He went out and made a ton of money. That turned out to be one big Ponzi scheme. He was sentenced to 110 years in prison. His attempted appeal was rejected in 2014. J. Michael Pearson. J. Michael Pearson became the CEO of Valiant Pharmaceuticals shortly after beginning work as an outside consultant with the company. Eventually amassed $3 billion in stock before things took a turn for the worse. Valiant was intensely criticized for jacking up prices of life-saving drugs many people were already dependent upon. In 2016, Pearson was removed from his position as the company's stock price plummeted. He's still worth $182 million. Not exactly broke, but a far cry from his former multi-billion-dollar fortune. See, I told you didn't want to be a billionaire. One thing you definitely do want is to be a subscriber to Terrific Tens. Now leave us a comment and let us know what you think of this video and hit that thumbs up on your way out. We'll catch you right here next time on Terrific Tens.